Ew, what the fuck is this? That looks disgusting. Let's watch it. Come on.
I had just finished moving into my new house.
Okay.
An old tiny 2-bedroom, one
Nice.
bath. Aside from having a friend helping with furniture, I spent the entire day moving boxes by myself. Naturally, I was exhausted, way too tired to bother making my bed, so I plopped down onto the couch and quickly began fading off to sleep.
Okay.
However, I was disturbed by the doorbell. It was nighttime, but not that late.
I'm telling you, bro, if it's nighttime and someone knocking or ringing the doorbell on my door, I ain't fucking open it. It's the same like when you see someone like calling for help outside your door and it's the middle of the night, I'm not helping you, bro. I don't give a fuck if you're a child, a man or a woman, a fucking animal, bro. Go ask the neighbors, bro. Don't come to me,
Rude and ignore my new neighbors. When I opened the door, I was met with a woman. She could have been in her 30s or 50s, as she was sagging skin and frail bones, like she hadn't had a bite of food in months. Her hair
You got nice eyes, though.
was a strikingly bright blonde,
Would you hit?
and her eyes were an equally piercing blue. Beyond her physical appearance, she had this unnerving aura. The second I saw her, my heart skipped a beat. Perhaps if she'd been healthier and cleaner, I would have been instantly attracted to her.
Okay.
But instead, her presence set alarms off in my brain.
Yeah.
Maybe I knew subconsciously that her toothy smile was a blatant lie, or that her eyes were devoid of any warmth that should have been there. As she opened her mouth to speak, I couldn't understand what she was saying at first. My mind was focused elsewhere, on the pungent smell of dry hunger on her breath. Her eyes had dipped down as she spoke, and for some reason, it made me think she was sizing me up for her next meal. Once I finally registered her words, I realized she said, "You must be the new neighbor," in a crackling yet alluring voice. I stuttered as I replied that I was. Then she said that she noticed I had moved in alone. I tried to think back if I had seen her among the people in the neighborhood earlier, but I couldn't remember anyone who looked remotely like her. Despite the creeps I was getting, I didn't think she posed a threat, given that I was a foot taller and probably had 100 pounds on her. So I kept the door open for a short conversation.
Okay.
She asked if I had plans to get a roommate for my second bedroom.
He's better than me, bro. I would have closed the door as soon as I saw her ugly ass. If someone's knocking, say, "Oh, you're my new neighbor, bro." You could have said that in like when I moved in. Fuck you doing at my door at 3 a.m. Kill yourself, my bad.
But I explained I was going to use it more like an office. This made her frown. Then she said, "Well, isn't that lonely?" I answered no because I like to live alone. That's when the woman stepped through the doorway uninvited.
Whoa, whoa. Nah, she can get it, bro, no cap.
You should kill yourself now.
With one hand on my chest and wrapped another around my waist. Then she whispered, "If you'd like to change your mind, I can keep you company tonight." Her words sent a chill down the length of my spine and split my brain in two. Thankfully, I chose reason. Without saying a word, I took her hands off me and pushed her out the door, slamming it in her face. I waited for her to ring the bell again, to start banging on the door and scream that I was a pig. But there was nothing from the other side of the threshold but deafening silence. Maybe 10 seconds later, I looked through the peephole. She was gone, but I hadn't seen her leave. It was like she vanished. I was freaked the hell out.
Yeah, me too.
Was this going to be a recurring thing? What kind of sicko swinger neighborhood had I just moved into? Maybe she was...
To be fair, though, that's a nice fucking house. I could live there. Especially with her around. Jesus Christ, she got that.
homeless and desperate. I didn't know. But it was one of those encounters that made me wish I had a cabinet full of liquor and a fridge full of beer. With nothing in the house to calm me down, I just had to hope that I was exhausted enough to pass out on my own. I laid on the couch again, and after a little while of tossing and turning, I did manage to fall asleep. There, I fell into a strange and vivid dream. Without covers, wearing only the clothes I had moved in, I felt cold. This coldness was alleviated by a warm, comforting entity.
Hell no, come on, bro. Like, imagine you sleeping and you wake up and you see a woman, a crazy looking ass 50-year-old woman just snuggling up against you, bro. Hell no.
Crawling up into my arms and settling into my grasp. It was like a loyal dog or loving companion came to bed. At first I welcomed this dream, but then it soured. The entity would not lie still. It squirmed and writhed,
Eating your chest? What the fuck?
like it was trying to dig ever deeper for more comfort. I wanted out. I opened my eyes and saw the most horrifying sight of my life. The woman from the door was lying with me. I wanted to scream and shove her across the room, but I couldn't move. It was like sleep paralysis, and she was my demon. She was clawing at my stomach, tearing through my skin. I thought she would rip me open at any moment. Finally,
punch her, motherfucker!
Awake. But then I realized it had never been a dream.
Yeah.
She was really there. I broke free and jumped off the couch.
Disgusting.
She fell when I went out from under her, hitting the floor hard. Then she looked up at me and let out an ear-piercing scream. I could only scream back like a panicking wild animal. I was ready to fight her, to break every brittle bone in her body. She'd shot me full of adrenaline, and I think even in her crazed state, she knew this. After looking at me for a second, she bolted. I went after her, watching as she climbed out an open window. I hadn't even checked if everything was locked yet because I had just moved in.
Like, after this incident, I'm moving immediately, bro. I'm not staying in that house.
The entry she needed. I slammed the window shut, then checked the locks and everything in the house. Gradually, the adrenaline wore off and I began to feel the pain in my abdomen. I looked down to see dozens of deep, jagged cuts from her fingernails. I called 911 to report the incident to the police and have my wounds treated. The police said the description I gave matched that of a criminally insane woman who had recently escaped from a nearby mental hospital. I had no idea there was such a facility in the area. I never heard anything about her after that, whether she was caught or still roams the streets.
You still live
I think
there?
about her almost every night. Sometimes. Makes me want to sell the house and move as far away as possible.
Yeah, do that, bro. Come on. First great story. We're gonna react to one more. Let's go.
I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. Yes, I was the rat. The complete stranger in the suit that parents let roam around and interact with their kids.
I love Chuck E. Cheese.
However, this isn't a confession
Never
of some
been there,
creepy
brother.
shit I did decades ago, but something that happened to me. To be honest, I can't say there was ever a pleasant moment wearing that suit. The other 40 minutes out of the hour were usually spent washing dishes, taking out the trash, or doing some other menial task. Beyond that, the horde of kids was an absolute nightmare to deal with. Anyway, I have something much more specific to talk about. I was in the suit one day going through the arcade when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. I didn't have good peripheral vision in the mask, but I could see that there were two people staring at me. At that time, I couldn't even tell who they were to each other, but they seemed anxious about something as they were fidgeting and shifting around. I soon moved on from that area, but I couldn't get away from them. Every time I stopped in a new spot and looked around, I'd catch a glimpse of those two weirdos staring at me while picking at themselves. They were obviously following me, but I couldn't recognize a single kid that was with me the entire time that they might be watching. Admittedly, a little freaked out, I tried to ignore them. I was walking toward the entrance to the changing room, but then they got in my way. They literally blocked the entryway, and now, since they were front and center,
Imagine jumping Chuck E. Cheese, bro. That's hilarious.
a sight that made me wish I didn't have eyes. The man towered over me, standing at least 6'2", with
Jesus.
roided out muscles bulging.
I'm taller, by the way.
Stop the cap.
The woman was barely over 4 feet tall, skinny as hell,
Looks like
with
a
sunken
kid.
eyes and sagging skin. Despite the fact she was obviously much older, she was dressed in frilly pink girl's clothes, which looked like they'd been fished out of a dumpster. There was a rule that no adults could enter the play area without being accompanied by a child, so I had no idea which one of my lazy-ass coworkers let this 40-year-old drug addict pass for a kid, but I was sure about to tear them a new one. The first thing the guy said was, "Hey man, how much for the suit?" I told him it wasn't for sale, but then he just flat out asked me to let him put it on. I declined once more, only for his face to instantly swell up and turn beet red. I thought he was about to knock me out, but then the woman grabbed his arm, looked at me with the most horrendous attempt at puppy dog eyes, and begged me to let her daddy wear the suit. Now, I knew exactly what kind of effed up
freaky
shit
shit
these
is
people
this?
wanted the suit for, and it made me want to throw up in it. Just then, a manager came up and asked what was going on. I simply pointed to the woman, and the manager knew instantly they had snuck in without a kid, so he escorted them out. Thinking the interaction was over, I went into the changing room and got out of the suit. After dabbing the sweat off my body and chugging some ice water, I rushed out the back door for a smoke break before anyone could tell me to do.
Bro, if I'm getting approached by a fucking drug addict who wants to put on the suit and looks like he's gonna jump me with his child, I'm staying in that Chuck E. Cheese all night. No, I'm going home with a friend or something, bro. I'm not going outside alone. No breaks. Not going home to my car, like not going to the car in the parking lot or some shit like that. No, I'm going with a friend. So if they try to jump us, we're gonna beat the shit out.
I was standing out there by myself, leaning back against the wall, when I see two people round the corner.
Yeah.
I instantly knew it was those two crackheads trying to find me. So I flicked my cigarette and turned back to go inside. But then I realized I had locked myself out. The door was always set to lock itself from the inside, and I'd forgotten to prop it open because I was so exhausted. Panicking, I started pounding on the door, hoping someone would hear me and open the door in time.
You're cooked.
A few seconds later, I saw that the freaks were running toward me. I turned to haul ass, but then the second guy screamed, "You should have given me the suit." The next thing I knew, he plowed into me.
How slow are you, bro? Just run. No way you got caught in like 10 seconds, bro. You're fucking ass. You deserve to get killed.
I was totally powerless, only able to watch as that demonic little woman pulled out a switchblade and pressed it against my stomach. They kept asking me to take them to the suit, but I told them I couldn't because the door was locked. Just as I said that, the door opened, and one of my coworkers came out to see what was happening. The look on their face was pure shock as they froze solid.
Yeah.
The
Jump
psycho bitch screamed,
Jump her.
Chucky suit and give it to them. The poor idiot stammered and stalled, causing the woman to start pushing the knife into my stomach.
Help me!
As soon as I felt it,
What is his coworker doing? Drop kick her ass. She's like 3'5". Come on, bro.
skin, I screamed at the top of my lungs. Just go get it, goddammit. A minute later, 3 or 4 of my coworkers.
No way there's 3 and 4 of you and you just not gonna jump her ass. Look at her tiny arms. She cannot press a knife. Oh my god. You know what?
Out with different pieces of the suit, all of them looking like deer in headlights. The pieces were all dropped on the ground. Then I was thrown back. When I caught my breath and looked up, the psychos were running off with the suit. They got what they wanted, but at least it was over. I only had a shallow wound from the knife, but I did lose my job.
How the fuck did you lose your job? Nah, your boss is a bitch, bro. Not gonna lie. You telling me I almost got murdered because of y'all? Y'all could have jumped her and him, bro. I'm losing my job? Nah, fuck y'all, bro.
Apparently, that stupid suit cost thousands of dollars, and the managers held me responsible for getting it stolen. Good riddance to it anyway. It always smelled like ass. Unfortunately, that has left me with the unwanted thought of, what did those two do with the suit? I've given it far too much thought over the years.
Yeah.
At best, they kept it for some sickening sexual fantasy. But at worst, they might have used it to try and lure the vulnerable and innocent into a trap.
And I'm gonna stop it right there, bro. MGV animations, fantastic videos, bro. You scared the fuck out of me, I ain't gonna lie.